we are gonna do another question, which is, can two or more can two or more than two quantities have the same dimension? If you watched some of my previous videos, you might have an idea. And the answer to this is yes, there can be two or more. So yes. So let's write the reason. Yes, two or more than two quantities can have the same dimension. So the two quantities um, or more than two quantities or more than two quantities may or may not be physically correct, which means even though they are dimensionally correct, they may not be physically correct due to units that don't have a dimension, for example the radian. So let's take example to understand this, the first case and the second case. So let's take an example. Work, kinetic energy and potential energy have the same dimension, which is ml square t minus 2, and are physically correct too, and are same physically, so let's say are correct physically too, which means they they have the same units as well. So whereas um, angular velocity and frequency have same dimension, which is per time, but are not correct physically, because angular velocity, so let's write this, it's because angular velocity is represented by radian per second, while frequency is represented by hertz, which is per second. So as you see, the units don't match up, so they are not physically correct, which so in this case, work, kinetic energy and potential energy have the same unit, which is joule, but angular velocity and frequency do not have the same unit, which means they are not correct physically. So you can't say angular velocity must equal frequency, whereas in this case there can be a special case where work can equal the kinetic energy, or the work can equal the potential energy, or the kinetic energy can equal the potential energy, and so on. So in conclusion, we can write, so hence two or more than two quantities can have the same dimension, which is pretty neat, right? So this was it for today's video. In the next video we are gonna do another question. Till then, bye.